Well, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. We
Happy New
are
Year.
we are recording this
Mhm.
January-esque into the beginning of the year
Yeah,
2025
it has
intuitive
begun.
intuitive insights and astrological aspects. And boy, there's just so much to get to. It,
Yes.
and it's
There is a lot to get. And I have to tell you, I was telling a friend earlier today, I have woken up every day since New Year's Eve feeling very excited. And I am so relieved that I'm feeling that way. And I talked to someone yesterday who said she's feeling the same way, and she's relieved also that she's feeling like that. I think people thought that they were going to wake up in 2025 with a sense of dread. And maybe there are people feeling like that. I'm sure there are. But
I've got both. I feel during the day very excited, and when I am out doing things. And there are also times when I wake up and there's a lot of fears. And
mm,
because you and I have the same word, accept, I'm like, I'm just going to accept this is where, and it's like it goes away and the excitement comes back. So that's kind of nice.
yeah, and my accept word has carried over. I have four words slash themes for my personal year of 2025, which is accept, allow, receive, rejoice.
I have accept, trust, clarify, and comfort.
Yeah, there you
So,
go.
um, and it's, I pulled cards and I got three, but the one of them was meditate. Of course, this is a deck called Inner Effing Peace. I won't say what the word is. And it says, tame this show by finding the calm in the chaos. Because
Mm.
there's no question that but that's part of the excitement. It's how do you look at chaos? Do you look at it as learning and growth and action, or do you look at it as I'm just going to go? And it's both. Um, I did a thing where I took 11 things I wanted to accomplish this year, and each day I cut them into strips, and each day up until New Year's Day, I burned one and said, I'm going to incorporate you, but this is not where Spirit wants me to focus. And shocking, the 11th one was the one that was left. And it was for me, be out, be in nature, and make contact daily. And I'm understanding that that's a bigger expression in this excitement. Be with people, be out, and keep yourself grounded by being in nature. And that's
It's
important.
one of the themes that I got for the collective for 2025.
So, would you like to start with your 20 January or
Yes,
okay.
yes. Let's dive into my intuitive hits. Three themes, three things to pay attention to for 2025. So I'll just start with what you just spoke into, because what I got was it's time for some of us to come out of our shells. It's time for some of us to come out of our shells, come off the shelf.
Come off the shelf.
And conversely, it may be a good time for others to slow down, step back, and reassess.
Hmm.
But I am one of those people, it's like it's time to come out again. The other one, the second theme is to be on purpose. Act with greater awareness and mindfulness and set a daily intention of goodwill for yourself and others. I really like that.
I do too.
When I first got that goodwill word, I thought, is that right? But then I said, yes, set a daily intention of goodwill for yourself and others, which makes it easier to do goodwill toward others when you're holding that space for yourself, I think. And
Hmm.
the third is work on extending and expanding the peace of the holiday season into the entirety of 2025 because people are really up. A lot of people are up and there's a cheer in the air for the holidays, and then there's a crash that comes, right? Or it comes like 6 weeks into the year when people's New Year's intentions start to go wah, wah. So let's be mindful. That's part of that whole mindfulness. We've got to really start paying attention a little bit closer,
Hmm.
um, because, a lot of our thoughts and actions have created a world that doesn't look so pretty to a lot of us. And we can change that. We can change that uh, direction and really use our mind to create some momentum towards something much more beautiful and kind that's full of compassion and gentleness and greater awareness. So yeah, three
That's your,
themes
no, those are
for
your
January.
January.
That's for January. That's for January. Yeah.
Because one of the things I can talk about for January is that trust, faith, same kind of thing, ground where we are. And for some of us, this is a year, and we'll talk as we get into 2025, of action. And January is setting up the action, taking it right from December and continuing in. First of all, we start with this personal authority energy that's Mars retrograde, and it's challenging the collective vision. What is the vision? And focusing on where and what we are believing. We're sitting at this 29th degree in these first few days, which is resetting the karma about my personal authority before it moves into how do I nurture my will? How do I pivot and figure out, let me try this. We're in a new world. We're in a new world. We're still us, but we're interacting with a whole different environment. So what are you paying attention to in this environment? We have Venus that's moved into Pisces, which is all about the relationship. And something that started in the beginning of November is resolving now in the beginning of January. And we uh, will be going back a little bit towards what some of the things that happened to us in September and October. And around the 10th to the 14th, we have this lovely, well, first of all, we have that our Mars, still retrograde, moves into that nurturing energy. And then on the 11th, we have a change in the nodal axis. And that's a big thing whenever that happened. It will not change again until July 26, 2026. And our
Wow.
nodal axis are called our destiny nodes. And we're moving from this taking an action, feeling like something new is coming. The south node being what we were moving away from, where we were letting go of beliefs that didn't bring us balance. That was the Libra south node. And now the south node's in Virgo, and it's asking us to let go of guilt, let go of not being enough about things, including things like, oh, I should be able to do this because if I'm a good human being, we're enough exactly the way we are in how we respond to things. And the node is moved to Pisces. It's moved to the consciousness of uncovering. It's a time that we're asked to meditate, do some real deep diving in who we are in the bigger arena. And if it means you have to start with until you're super comfortable, you start with yourself. And the other thing is then come out because your personal authority is stepping forward right now about what you're going to take, what you're not going to take, and understanding that this world out here is created first in here. And then this is about faith and motivation to keep us going in this karmic reset with this switch of the nodes and letting go of the guilt. And we learned the patterns that didn't bring us balance. Now we are learning we learned the beliefs. Now we're learning the patterns that we assign to them. We're letting those go while we really uncover who it is and what it is we want to be in the flow. And then around the 14th, we have, well, first of all, we have the full moon on the 13th. And it's a release of frustrations we've been feeling. It is a full moon in Cancer, very strong moon. And it's also got the Mars energy wanting us to pivot, release of frustration. Sudden changes will happen around the 13th. And then we go into this lovely time in the 14th about expanding our manifestation, experiencing and communicating what these boundaries are. A lot of communication things step forward this month. Again, we're getting ready because once this new astrological year starts in March, it's already started. The snowball is headed down the cliff right now. It is picking up speed. It is the ever unfolding rose. We now are actually physically watching it. We are moving into a time of great action, great personal responsibility, great in this coming new year. And we're finishing up a nine cycle. We're finishing up 9 years, a transformational energy that is stepping forth. And then we have the sun that moves into Aquarius, which will be working hand in hand this month with Pluto, transforming. It's getting busy, but this month,
Yes.
and especially February, is being comfortable with busy by being who we are. And when we get to talking about the year, one of the things is, what are you going to focus your life around? What are you doing to ground yourself in this action? What is the thing I'm moving around? Because as all of this air energy and fire energy steps forward with all this new, how am I going to be this new person in a new land and still be in touch with who I am so I don't implode or get knocked off my feet with the wave? And that new moon on the 29th is conjunct Pluto. And so it really is the new moon, the sun, are all what moves us forward, our private energy. It is intellectual progress and action that is calling us forth, along with Uranus going direct. It's going to be earthquakes because Uranus is in Taurus and it's in the 29th degree. So it is resetting the karma, getting ready for Uranus to move into a whole new cycle. New body awareness awakens. Action is needed in survival around yourself and understanding what that is. And it's looking at the awareness, a teachable moment. It's understanding that things are coming to you, not for or against you. You are calling them. So, what are you paying attention? And that really sets up for a powerful, comforting beauty that is February to get us ready in that 29th degree, understanding what's stepping forth. So that's January in a nutshell.
Just a few things.
Just a few things. So
Just a few little things.
just a few things.
Yeah, I'm actually that excites me even more what you just said
Hmm.
because there's just constant change. You can't escape it. So we might as well understand how the energy is working with us, for us. None of it is against us, you know.
Yeah.
We can learn to ride these waves with greater ease.
And
Doesn't have to
understanding we
be.
are enough to deal with it. We are enough just
Mhm.
by being all of the ways we are being,
Yeah,
um, including those things that we are most proud about ourselves and realizing we may have limitations in that we're not enough doing that enough, like rescuing enough or guilt, and realizing, no, 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 we're moving away from that. I am moving to deep understanding of my connectedness to, and I'm uncovering it. And one of the big themes that steps forward this year is compassion.
I'll take it.
Overall compassion, compassion for ourselves, compassion for. So, what do you got for 2025? I'm so curious about.
Ah, well, I took all these notes for the year before the new year, so at least a week ago.
Hmm.
Okay, so let's dive in. I have one, two, three, four, and they're a little longer than the monthly ones. So let's look. Number one, extraordinary expansion. So
I'd like
this,
to write these down.
oh, okay. I can
Okay.
send them to you. So extraordinary expansion. There are three main areas to be aware of, finances, consciousness, and compassion, which you just talked about, right? And this also means that some patterns and habits may need to be released because if we're pouring some new stuff into the mix here, that means some of the old stuff has got to go. So
Hmm.
please also be aware, and that's where some of this compassion can come in, is in the letting go and the releasing. It can feel not so organic. It could feel very forced because some of the letting go could be people and relationships that have been around a while. Um, and it may not be your desire to let it go. But there could be something on the other end of that that is saying it's time for a change. So just be open, be aware, be compassionate.
So that finances,
Finances, consciousness, and
consciousness.
compassion.
Oh, that fits right in with the deep dive we're going in with this North Node.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, number two, acts of rebellion. I really sat with that when I came out because I thought, oh, sometimes I question the messages that I'm getting, right? Here I am asking to be shown and so I can write the themes down, and then it comes and I'm like,
Welcome to being
are,
human.
are you
What?
sure? Are you sure?
Yeah,
So
right.
acts of rebellion, big or small, things that may break your rules and open you to new experiences, expose you to new people, and release you from a quote unquote mindset that you may not yet know exists. And that's the expansion of consciousness right there, right? Okay.
Hmm.
So, number three, global disruption. And this was another one I went, oh God, do we have to use that term? Can you give me another one? No, just this is it, global disruption. Because when I was taking this information in and I was questioning, the that theme of global disruption, I heard, global disruption is a good thing. Don't think of all these things as bad. You've got to bring some enlightenment to it, right? This is the expansion of consciousness. Global disruption can be good. So, no surprise with this first one. Stock markets could be up and down erratically at times, erratically at times. And a lot of this, when I was examining this, what I was feeling was a lot of where this stock market stuff could come in is through the United States government because some messages get out into the world through social media. When you're governing by social media, it can really disrupt the markets in a way that it might not if you're not using social media to make announcements. So we have to pay close attention, right, to what's coming out of the federal government, the mouthpiece, because it can shift the markets and other things. So just pay attention or don't pay attention, and you might not never know what happened, and that's okay. Ignorance can be bliss in that case, right?
Because it changes
Um,
quickly. Yes.
yes, it does. Weather events that continue to point to global warming. Weather events that continue to point to global warming. Another piece of this global disruption is big eruptions of volcanoes and one major earthquake possibly outside of the US. So I don't usually get these weather things, but it came out, so I'm sharing it. Big eruptions of volcanoes and one major earthquake outside of the US. No timeline on this. They're just saying it could occur in 2025. So, just want to switch this page over. Okay. Ongoing threats. And we may have seen that this already happened. Um, to start off the new year. Ongoing threats, in quotes, from far right political groups and a few surprises in elections, as well as governmental changes in the US and abroad. The political pendulum will continue to swing at sometimes wildly throughout 2025. And this is all part of that global disruption stuff, right? Sometimes we have change in governments. Look what happened in Syria just several weeks ago, right? We had this, it just took 2 weeks and it was phew, changed. So number four, and this is probably my favorite because I like the gentle and like, oh, I can do this. Make it a priority to do things. Surround yourself with people who help to make your light shine, that bring out your brilliance, calm your heart and mind, and push you to be the absolute best version of yourself. Mhm. I like when people push me to be the best version of myself or of the better version, the better version, the better version. I had a relationship for a while, and I would say to him, I would say, you know, you make me want to be a better person. And I like to be around people who do that. So, yeah. So those are the themes that I have for, these are global themes. They're not really relegated to the United States, because I'm in New York State, Kitty's in Florida at the moment. So it doesn't mean that what we're talking about is global for the year, right? So,
Right. Well, because the astrological aspects of this, of course, are global.
hmm
It is when I talk about that, for those watching, I'm talking about this is the energy that's out there. How people tap into it is, again, exactly what January and February are working with us to pay attention to. I love the themes. One reason I wanted to write them down is um, so many things I'm going to say will refer back to those four themes. Shocking, isn't that why we do this?
This is why we do this, because we like to see what the message is from Spirit, how it relates to the astrology. So
Right.
yeah.
So we know that Pluto's in Aquarius, and Pluto in Aquarius was the Revolutionary War, the French Revolution, bigger ideas changing and transforming. We have the nodal axis. The nodal axis that switches where it makes us look at the last 19 years. So now we go back 19 years, and where are we in the early 2000s when we some of the technology really started. Bitcoin started. So some of those things you're talking about with the stock market, Bitcoin is again coming back to be revisited. Not just the Bitcoin itself, but alternative ways of energy exchanges
Mm.
step to the forefront when we talk about how this is switching. And because we have these last degrees of Taurus for Uranus before it switches into um, um, when it moves into Gemini. And by the way, in Gemini, it's all about the technologies. It's all about that same kind of energy we're talking about. We are really looking at the chaos around that. And Taurus, its last degrees, is all about the body, the earth, the physical. And then we're moving to the intellectual. And Uranus, by the way, is the ruler of that Aquarian energy. So we really are that's the interesting thing about this astrological time. Um, on Intuition of the Soul, I have go over this much more deeply, but we are, this is an astronomically unusual event that there are all of these planets in a 7 month period who switch signs, two of which, one of being a 165-year cycle starts again, and one being a 30-year cycle starts again. So not just switching sides, but two huge cycles begin in that spiral. So we'll start with that. Um, just after Mars goes direct on the 26th in Cancer and starts to go back over where it's been going since the beginning of December. So we'll be revisiting. That's our will. That's the spark that starts us. We have Neptune joining Mars, who rules Aries, even though it's in Cancer. So it's going to be nurturing this new start. This is a new 165-year cycle. The last time Neptune was in Aries was the Civil War, was
Oh.
coming just after but into the Civil War, just when slavery became the secondary issue, became a primary issue. What is not acceptable by spirit for
Hmm.
mankind? We are coming into this. This is intangible, imaginable energy. It's about ideals, visions, and it's in the warrior signs, which doesn't mean war, but it is the archetype of spirit and courage and willpower, finding your voice. And that goes right along with your theme of looking at ongoing threats, making it a priority to use your voice to stand up.
Yeah, the
Disrupt,
acts of rebellion.
yep, disrupt acts of rebellion. Disruption is also a good thing because it stops something that shouldn't be happening. The Civil War stopped the human sale of mankind. And it's all about dynamic action. So spirit will be asking for dynamic action. Now, will we understand what that is together? And that's that whole piece. It's a collective impulse of heroism and leadership that is stepping forward in this Aries. It's starting acts to fight for spiritual causes for the greater good.
Mm.
Now, just understand that all of these signs I'm going to go over will retrograde back, dip back into this, and we are going over this 0 and 29 degrees, the two strongest degrees of any sign, um, throughout these 7 months. Again, it's unbelievable that what are called the bridge planets that take us from our daily energy out to those bigger themes, all of them are switching energy. Absolutely every single one of them. So it's a lot of change, and we're going from this receiving and understanding to very much how do we think and the fire, how do we react to it. And so um, and this is the beginning of a 165-year cycle.
Mm.
And then we have Saturn that will move. So we have a little more than a month, and then almost 2 months, and then Saturn moves into Aries, starting a new 30-year cycle. Saturn is our taskmaster. Saturn is our structures. Saturn is our potential, and it represents almost contrary qualities in areas because Saturn is about our structure, how we do things, and here it is in something that's new. It will speed up healing and risk taking to get to carry that message forward that Neptune has started. And it's Saturn is a reality check. It's responsible action. So we have dynamic action, we have responsible action. What choices are you making? Becoming responsible for them. Leadership, personal autonomy steps forward with Saturn in Aries. And so now we're going back 30 years. So where were we
Mm.
30 years ago? Oh, we're coming back at this. It's persistence and resilience. So that is what Aries steps forward in Saturn. Then, okay, and so that's one of the farther energies, one of the bridge energies. Then one of the next one, bridge energy is this is spirit's beauty for us, is that we have our expansion energy that moves into nurturing, moves into Cancer, and it's exalted in Cancer. It's a very strong energy as Gemini generously will be there, and it will be there till 1128. It's it for quite a few years, and it's exalted in Cancer. It's generous, it's compassionate. It will improve areas of nurturing in people's life, and it grows in cohesion with the law of how we function as a group. It develops its compassion, its helpful opportunities that will step forth to work with this Saturn that is making us be personally responsible, and this Neptune
Mm.
that is asking us to be globally responsible for who we are. And then we have the final player of those outer energies is Uranus. And the last time Uranus moved into Gemini was 1942, World War II.
Oh.
Um,
One little thing.
Radical change, almost the end of
Yes.
World War II. Um, our Uranus in Gemini is radical change. And because it is the ruler of that Aquarian energy, it's radical change of what our vision can be. Now, all of these planets in this very short period of time which is why groundedness is very important and being who you are, because you can only hold your space and place. And so I love the theme of how do we surround ourselves with the people that keep us being the best version of ourselves? Because this is radical change and breaking down limitations. And it's the sign of technology. It's the sign of movement when we have this energy of Saturn, the great awakener, the chaotic energy in how we communicate, in how we experience things, and in the polarity of that. So that's just till July. And the months unfolding from that are going to really be about, but you can hear the message is very clear. Compassionate, dynamic, responsible
Hmm.
action will bring radical change and again, going over that 29th degree, resetting our karma for lifetimes, and then zero, the purest version of that energy that can have the potential to kind of take us in a uh,
Yeah.
that's why coming up with what grounds you, what are you willing to build your schedule around every single day to keep you in that dynamic energy without taking the feet out from under you.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I have to say, I think it's going to be an extraordinary year. I did not feel this a year ago for myself, and it turned out to be true. But it was a very, I was so glad to see 2024 go because for me personally, folks, Kitty, you know this, it was one of the most challenging years of and that I can remember. It was like shockingly like, what? Once we hit like April, May for me, I was like, oh no, this isn't going to go the way I think it is it? It's just like,
and that's really important for people to understand what's coming. You cannot do this.
no.
a preview the way you've been doing this before.
No, you
You are
can't.
in a different world. You are,
Yep.
even if you're a healer, even if you're a person,
Hmm.
if you are approaching it with the same tools, they don't work.
No. And for me, it was like,
You
all
can,
right, hang on for dear life, buddy, because we don't know what's around the bend.
well, yeah, you,
And I kept hearing all last year, you're in a new era. You're in a new era. Things are different. Things are different. The just like you were saying, my messages throughout 2024 were like these old, patterns and habits, the way you used to manifest, the way you did this, the way you did that, that's gone, buddy.
yeah.
And it can be shocking, and I'm pretty well versed in staying grounded and but it shocked the crap out of me at times. I was not in a good way. I was on my hands and knees going, "Oh,
Well, I think
believe,
that's why you and I
really?"
walked out with the same word, acceptance.
Yes,
I,
acceptance at the end of the year,
yeah,
very valuable.
and I look at how the year began in this, for me, kind of crisis of I thought I was with a group of people and this, and it turned out to be a whole different thing. And how do I use my voice? And it took the kind of, and by the end of the year, Spirit took my voice and took my name and made me sit.
Yeah,
What am I? Who am I?
yeah.
That became, now when I think about the beginning of the year, how that taught me to go, I'm just going to accept exactly where I am. I know what it feels like to be whirling up there. Don't want to do that. So, it is, and this is what we're doing right now. The action is on ourselves. The action is to get out there. I mean, to make contact and like you said, find the contact. And it doesn't mean everything's perfect, but it might be, I don't feel really great with this group of people.
Mm.
So it's okay. That's not about them. It's about me. My personal authority has now taught me to go, if I'm not feeling great about that, I don't have to figure out the deeper meaning, that they're a mirror for me, all of those
No.
things. I can just go, bless them. I'm going to go find something that makes me feel okay.
Yeah, you don't have to overprocess stuff.
Well, that's that
The
letting go of guilt and
Yeah,
yeah,
if you have an open mind and an open heart, the information about why certain things are happening, it's going to come to you.
right.
It's inevitable as from my personal experience.
Well,
You know,
I know you and I have privately talked about this, and some of our friends too, is we're not getting bigger picture. Like even for you and I, our reports aren't saying this is going to mean this, and we see, no, Spirit is even sending information that says, here's your new world. Get used to this piece before we
yeah,
give you the next piece.
agreed. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's,
Little by little, bit by bit, we'll get there.
and
And we'll
it's
get to the next place, and then
we're
we'll get to
just
the next place.
right. We'll get to the
It's
next
like,
new levels of being.
yeah, it's
That's
good.
that's the level. Not hierarchy, not anything. It's just new
Yeah.
levels of being. So,
It's good. It's exciting. Life is good. So, folks, if you're feeling a little stressed out, if you're feeling a little bit like, oh, I don't know, you know, again, surround yourself by people who will lift you up. You don't need anyone to tell you what to do or, give you certain directions. They can just sit there and listen and not give you feedback. If you want, get yourself out in nature, go find something that makes
meditate,
you
stare at a
laugh.
candle,
Hmm.
color in a coloring book, whatever
Throw
takes
some pillows around the house.
right. Because you need the time to absorb. Just like when you're in a new location figuring things out. I mean, you and I have both moved a few times, and usually in the first couple of days we sleep a lot because we're
Yeah.
everything, that's where we are. Everything is kind of new. I'm still me, but all that I'm interacting with is new. And that is where we are. It's a new world.
It's
What
a new era, baby.
it,
We are
it
here.
we are here. We are here. Or here to who, you know? The
Yeah.
dust speck is opened and yelling, "We are here, we are here." So,
Yeah.
isn't that though interesting? Pluto was the Revolutionary War. Uranus was the World War II, and Neptune, these are the outer planets, was the Civil War. Slavery, the vision that men can govern themselves, and uh, the freedom not to persecute or destroy, when we look at what World War II was about.
Yeah.
Um, uh, interesting, isn't it, that that is the theme?
what goes around comes around. So here we are again.
And
Wake up, folks.
well, and we had 1770, 1776, we had 1862, and then we have 1942. Only we are doing it in 7 months. Just think,
Hey, the
just put
energies are
yourself
moving fast.
very fast. So, and
Yeah.
technology will multiply it. So, and especially since
Yes.
Uranus is one of the ones that's moving, and that is a ruler of technology. And thank you so much for Jupiter going into how do I nurture that? The expansion energy. How do I nurture with compassion all of what we are asking to do? No accident there, is it?
No.
And it's the sign of truth in that expansion.
Yeah.
So, anyway,
Well,
Joe, this was
good.
cool.
Thanks, Kitty. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Take
See
care.
you in a
We'll
couple
be
weeks.
see you in a couple weeks. All right.
Yeah.
Namaste.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.